Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and I'm out here. I brought the skid steer over here. We're gonna knock this house down. And it's kind of an interesting story. This is a home that was condemned, and the people who owned it didn't really have the resources to get it torn down, and one way or another, you end up paying for that. So my dad has taken on the project of tearing this house down, and he's been doing it all by hand. But it's kind of at the point where it's no longer safe to work on it by hand until the main structure comes down. So why in the world would you agree to tear this house down by hand?
Well, the person who owns it is a friend of the family, and they needed help. And there are actually a lot of reusable materials in it. At this time, the rustic is so popular that old barn wood and 2x4s and stuff are worth quite a bit.
When I was growing up, it seemed fairly normal to tear down old barns for the material. My grandpa would straighten every nail and reuse the nails. And we don't go to that extreme anymore, but that doesn't mean that a condemned house is worthless and should just always be bulldozed. As we were walking up to record this, Dad was showing me that there's some what would be sold as barn wood and used in collectibles or furniture is used as siding here. So there's a lot of good material. When we go around to the front, you're gonna see it looks like this whole thing should have fallen a long time ago on its own, and it's still standing. I've watched some other videos where people were trying to tear down a house either with no equipment or with limited equipment, and it's harder than you think to get it to actually collapse. That being said, the point it's at is very dangerous, so we're gonna try to be thoughtful about how we do it. I've got a winch, I've got a skid loader, and I've got some chain, and I think we're gonna start just ripping out exterior wall joist. So let's take a walk around and just show you what the house looks like right now. This wood right here is highly sought after to build things out of. You can make signs or furniture or any number of things out of this weathered wood that's still really solid. It just doesn't look solid. So the first question this morning is, what do we do first? So Dad's already taken and ripped out all the studs on this wall. That didn't make the house fall. And we can continue going around the outside, but we're deciding right now what the safest thing is. My first thought is that if you keep pulling down the outside, at some point you need to pull some of these on the inside. And I think now I might start by pulling down the middle. Just take out a few of these center supports, and if it falls, it falls. If it doesn't, then we start going around the outside.
Works for me.
All right, we don't know.
I just want to get it down to where it's safer to work on.
The tear down to this point happened a while ago, and it's been standing like that and not fallen, but one more support could be the one. We've actually hooked 3 different chains to 3 different supports in the center of the house, and all of them are sticking out here. So now we can pull 3 times without going back under it.
Why, we live actually in Tornado Alley, is what most people call it. And we've had some high winds. I kept hoping I'd drive by and it was down. Problem solved, but that hasn't happened. They built them well, evidently. Roughshod pine or cedar.
Yeah, that cedar post is probably $30, $40 at least. He's already salvaged a lot of material from this at this point. He's reused a bunch of PEX tubing, and he's got this pile of lumber, and you've already taken some, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've taken several loads out of here of things, materials that I can still use.
So that was a little disappointing. We picked what we thought were the 3 most weight-bearing spots that we could access, and pulling those out didn't do anything. So we're gonna go over to one side and just start ripping out the exterior joist and see what happens. that felt like some kind of an accomplishment, but we're just still at the beginning phases, really.
And maybe pulling this 6-inch here out like this.
Yeah, I think that's it right there. We hook to that and pull it.
That might let it come down some more. And be to where the roof is more flat rather than at an angle.
So you want to do that next? Take this down right here?
I think maybe.
Okay.
No complaints here.
Now, I'm expecting to get a lot of negative comments on this about safety, about maybe I made more mess than I fixed. I don't know. It's unpredictable, but I'll just tell you, this is kind of the Wild West out here. It needed down, and now it's down. And my dad's been doing stuff like this. He was working on this for a month or months before I even knew it was a project of his, and he was doing every bit of it by hand. And he would have finished it by hand if I didn't have a machine to bring over. So I'm just trying to help him with that process. So, are you happy?
Yeah, I'm very happy. At some point, you've just got to say, let's bring her down, clean up the mess, and move on.
There's a lot of good materials that I ripped out in sections that can still be taken apart if he wants. And at some point, they're going to have to get some roll-offs. And me or someone else is going to have to come back and just load all this up. But anyway, I appreciate you watching this video. I'll put links over here to more of our videos. And I'll see you next time.